They been on it, drum on the rail. I wrap it, I bag it, I pack it for sale. I feel like I'm speed out, I hit me a chill. I give it a thrill, I put it on film. Facade get applaud, that ain't real. Come to my section and flex, we can tell. I got a show where she dipping them nails. I'm flipping my L's, I know they can tell. I did it too major, they hit me for favors. Been him since the cable was cut in the cradle. What's up, only right that I do it. Colossal until I'm a fossil, they want me to fail. Look, we prevail. Jump on your tail. Know that they talking, they telling them tales. Just know how to tell, that's for the sale.
Honestly, I know it's hard to believe, but you have to trust me. It's got maximum taste and zero sugar.
Stop playing games, wooden boy.
No, I'm a real boy.
Pepsi Max. Maximum taste, zero sugar. Try and believe.
What do you see here? Maybe history, or maybe it's the future.
Amarti mi consola. Amami ancora, fallo dolcemente, un anno, un mese, un'ora.
Tonali plug-in hybrid, a new charge of sportiness.
I keep on running around. Please tell me, what are you looking for? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Every single point now is at a premium, and that premium is no more intense than this circuit. This is the Temple of Speed. This is the one circuit you look at and go, everybody has an opportunity to prove themselves. It is stop-start. It is slipstream central. It is all about tactics. This is Monza. They don't make them like this anymore. Welcome to the V1 Malta Series Season 6. It's round 11 of 15 as the race to Losail continues on here with us. I'm Jake Sperry, Adam Reed, along with me for the ride. Adam, this is a very crucial juncture. It is a much different circuit to a lot of the circuits that we've seen on the calendar this year. You could say that this is highlighted in every driver's calendar that you've got a chance.
Hi, Jake. Absolutely. It's going to be one of the really wild races, I think. Monza is one of those that is just absolutely phenomenal. And, of course, the atmosphere would be absolutely electric if we were here in real life. Of course, it's only going to be the virtual version, but still, you really do get a sense of the speed in these early stages. And we'll definitely see that in those first runs of qualifying. You're on full throttle for about 84% of that, so almost 90%. You're on that gas pedal the entire way. You just need to make sure that you're fully focused around the circuit, because one snatch of the brake and that is your lap gone, or you could be making a mistake and find yourself flying back through the back of the field.
It can so easily happen, and we've seen it so many times before. This is a track of fine margins, no finer than here, brought to you by Motors Inc., Alfa Romeo, Pepsi Max, Intercomp, Next Level Racing, Level Academy, and MIB Insurance Brokers. It's an important phase of the championship for Matthias Ferrugia, who sits on top after last time's fourth place finish even that he ended up with. It was Ryan Carabot who ended up with victory overall. Adrian Manduca keeping his run of good form with a second place, and Daniel Chinny just keeping himself honest here in this championship effort in position number 3 with last week's result that went through. Like Brandon Bonello kept himself in good check as well, making sure that he finds himself best of the rest, 5th in the championship. But really, it was a Ryan Carabot masterclass out there that put him right in the picture for the championship. Yes, that gap is 24 points up at the top, but it's 24 points to both Carabot and Manduka. So there are 2 drivers at least to worry about at this stage. Adam Daniel Chinny, a further 13 behind, will still feel like he's got some title aspirations, albeit long shots at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Hungary was one of those that was very entertaining, especially in the midfield where Ryan Carabot really kind of, I want to say, decimated the field. But of course, there's only the second time that Matthias Ferrugia has not been on the podium. He hasn't been on the roster, and I wonder how this will come through him, especially during this race here in Monza. There is Carabot going up to second place, so regaining a little bit of form, which he lost in the middle stages of this season. Of course, looking down the rest of the field, you've got Bonelli, you've got Savage, you've got Page, you've got Juarez, Abella, and Muscat moving himself up into the top 10. Brilliant stuff there from the Williams. But looking at the teams at the championship, I believe Alpine are going to be still up at the top there, and they're really going to be gunning for the title. There you can see 205 points for the Enstone-based team, ahead of the Williams team on 196 points. Ferrari and Alfa Romeo still in the conversation to take that team's title, but it'll be a lot to try and take that away from Alpine. A lot of the heavy work being done there by championship leader Matthias Ferrugia.
You have to say as well, Williams, a lot of the work being done by Ryan Carabot. Ferrari definitely splitting the load at the moment between the likes of Brandon Bonello and Osbert Zverev. Those two have certainly been putting together some solid performances each, but their championship efforts are going to be worth keeping an eye out on as we go through the final 5 rounds of this season. It's the difference makers where each point is worth a little bit more. But this is Monza. This is the fast circuit out there. And you look at it, it's a 5.8 kilometer circuit. It's going to be one of the shortest, or if not the shortest race on the calendar, depending on whether there are going to be safety cars or not, because that lap speed is simply phenomenal. 120.7 is the fastest lap that we've seen around here, but this is the circuit of circuits here, just 5 miles outside of the city of Milan.
It is a superb circuit. You could already see there on our previous winners, Ryan Carabot and Adrian Manduka, already on that list as well. Jake Sammet down there at the bottom of that list, but a circuit length of 5.7 kilometers or 5.59 miles. So with 27 laps around here, things are really going to get pretty crazy. We could be seeing 3 wide moments here. So prepare for some real good action on one of the oldest circuits in motorsport history.
Yeah, this is a circuit which has shown so much. Now, the aggressive strategy is to start on the hard compound tyre, try and last it out as much as you can, and then go for a fairly long soft run. But we're expecting softs and mediums here today. This is going to be a quick race out there, and we're expecting about 12 laps on the soft, and then a further, you would argue, 15 out there on the mediums. Depends on how you want to go and open it up. This is a circuit where you do have to be very alert to every which way you're looking, through the Biasino curve over to the likes of Parabolica, which is now named the Alboreto curve. This is the sort of circuit you look at where everyone is going to be as trimmed out as possible.
Yeah, for sure. You're going to have to really just trim down on your aerodynamics. Just make sure that your straight line speed effect is as best as it can be, and that's the best way to get around this circuit. There will be a couple of kind of challenges there, like the first chicane, like the second chicane. Of course, you've got the 2 Lesmos. If you get caught in that dirty air, that could be pretty costly, especially when you're chasing for those higher positions, and the higher points is exactly what you want to be doing. It's going to be making for some very tough racing.
There's going to be tough racing. There's going to be a lot of racing that needs to be decided between now and the end of the season. But one thing we do know for certain is that this lap has been run again and again and again in different variances since 1950. As we lose our cameras, let's take a little look at what makes this circuit so incredible with our incredible Intercomp hot lap. That just shows you how quick a lap around this place is. So quick that words are very hard to find. We're going to step aside for just one moment here with the V1 Malta series. When we come back, it's qualifying, and it might just be the most important one of the season.
They been on it, drum on the rail. I wrap it, I bag it, I pack it for sale. I feel like I'm speed out, I hit me a chill. I give it a thrill, I put it on film. Decide get applaud, that ain't real. Come to my section and flex, we can tell. I got a show where she dipping them nails. I'm flipping my L's, I know they can tell. I did it too major, they hit me for favors. Been him since the cable was cut in the crater. What's up, only right that I do it. Colossal until I'm a fossil, they want me to fail. Look, we prevail. Jump on your tail. Know that they talking, they telling them tales. Just know how to tell, that's for the sale. Yeah.
Good morning. I'm your algorithm. I know what you're going to wish for.
No, you don't. New Alfa Romeo Tonale Hybrid. Live unpredictably.
Better with Pepsi Max.
And so, to qualifying, 18 minutes once more put up onto the clock. But today is an important day in terms of pace. Everybody's going to believe that they've got it. Everybody's going to believe that they've got the best package going forward. But the one thing that they know above anything else, this is the one circuit that you look at, and it's not just about who you are and how fast you are on your overall pace, Adam. It's about track position and who are you getting help from.
It really is, Jake, about where you are on that track. Are you on that circuit in the right position at the right moment? Because the key thing around here is going to be that toe, getting it through all those do all those straights around turn through the Curva Grande, and of course you're going to be wanting that down all about the long 4 straight that we have down this circuit. It's going to be really important in terms of car placement and car positioning in terms of what in that queue. We see a lot of the cars now heading out onto the circuit. There is Ryan Karabot, who's launched himself up into second place, up to grabbing maximum points at the Hungarian Grand Prix last time out. The Williams driver will be hoping to go for another pole position, and it looks like the chances are very, very high. We saw how once he got confident on a circuit, he knows exactly what he needs to be doing and can make those laps count and put that onto the front row of the grid.
Well, we do know that Ryan Karabot was a maestro last time out at the Hungaroring, but this is a very different circuit with a very different flow around it. To see Karabot up at the top, this is probably one of his greater qualifying challenges. We know how good he is with high downforce, Adam. He just walks away from the field when he gets to it. But here at a low downforce circuit like this, do you feel like the playing field is even?
Yeah, definitely, because it's all about how accurate are you through those corners. Yes, you can set it to as low wings as you possibly can, but it's all about can you get it accurate in those corners once you've done that. So it really does level the playing field just that little bit. Of course, Manduka and Karabot are going to have some confidence around this second. I just wonder how Matthias Ferrugia will be going about his business tonight. He, of course, he got knocked off the podium last time out, but I'm sure he will regain that when we get straight into the race.
Yep, and now he needs a good qualifying lap through the Variante di Rettifilo chicane, the opening chicane out here on this circuit. Now it's about focus. Straight line as much as you can. Hug the inside of the Curva Biasino. And now over to the Della Roggia, the second chicane out here, where it is so easy just to overcommit and find yourself in the gravel on that outside. Now for the 2 transfer corners here, the 2 Lesmos, Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2. The first one tighter than the second. It's a slingshot out of the second one, and now you head to the King's Hunting Lodge, the Curva di Seraglio, and then you get to run underneath the old banking run in the 1950s, over to the Ascari chicane, the triple chicane, left, right. Look how early he took that second chicane, really trying to maximize onto the junior circuit, out of the third part, and now on this backstretch to the Alboreto curve, the Parabolica, the one of the most iconic corners in racing, and it's all about commitment from here, all about getting that run to the line. 1:20 is the fastest time we've ever seen, and he's just done an 18.7 on his opening lap. They are smashing the lap time records.
Oh, that is absolutely brilliant there for Ryan Karabot. That is an absolute lap and a half. Just smash it out the box. And Daniel Cini going in there with a 191 for his first time lap. But we're now looking at Adrian Manduka here, the reigning champion, who seems to have his crown slipping from his head. But he's got to keep focus here through the 2 Lesmos here. Yellow flag flashing on the electronic board on the left-hand side. But it looks like it's okay for now. But unfortunately, the lap has been invalidated. Right, I was just about to say that. So he's going to have to now back off and go again here. This is Matthias Ferrugia, who goes up to P6 behind Christian Samet and Keith Muscat. So not the best lap time, just pipping his teammate by just close to 0.2 of a second there. So will that kind of put a little bit of a shock into the system?
I think that's a little concerning. Remember, they are on a short week here today, Adam. It's only a 1-week difference between rounds. So would that maybe have an effect here on Matthias Ferrugia? The fact that he's going to be out there and he knows that he has had 1 less week to practice this circuit.
Yeah, definitely. That does come into things. A lot of these drivers do have different amounts of time for freedom because, of course, there are personal lives behind these sim races, and we look at Brandon Bonello there in the Scuderia Ferrari. We'll get onto Ferrari in just a moment, but going back to that testing time that these drivers set for themselves, it's really, really crucial that some of these drivers are up at the high end there at peak performance, and when you just drop a little bit like that, that's not going to fill up a little bit of confidence whatsoever.
Well, this is where you just know that drivers who haven't got those opening laps together are going to be in a little bit of trouble. Now, Efron Tabone is the one driver I look at and go, yeah, he's now in a world of hurt because he's off at the second Lesmo that brought out the yellows and ultimately that distraction for his teammate Adrian Manduka, which invalidated his lap through that section, the second of the Lesmo corners here. That's going to be big because it puts Manduka on the back foot, puts Efron Tabone out of the qualifying session. He now has to wait for these 11 minutes and 45 seconds before he can race, and he'll have to start from the back.
Yeah, true. That's that's not going to be ideal, especially starting at the back. But there are opportunities, especially if you've got Slipstream and if you're one of the fast drivers. Then for sure there is an opportunity. And we now look at Milan. So very nice to see that Milanis in Milan as he comes across the line. Emerson Saab goes over that timing beam. Where's he going to put that AlphaTauri? He's only his slowest, in fact. 12th fastest with a 120.7. I'm sure he will go again, but he's just trying to warm himself up at this moment in time. That navy and white AlphaTauri. He's going to set himself to go into the pits, and he'll go out for another lap here.
Well, he's off sync at the moment. Chris Narazzuro, you would argue, is also off sync right now, and he will not have the benefit of the slipstream. Understeery through the opening chicane, really having to work with a lot of wheel input there through the Rettifilo, through the Biasino, and now over towards the Della Roggia. He's going to have to start dealing with drivers who are on the outlaps, trying to minimize the tyre wear as much as possible here, trying to keep themselves running at about 70% of their true overall pace, just to keep the heat in the tyres without losing all of that grip that is used up by weaving about on the circuit.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be interesting about all of that. It's just carrying on with the lap, really. Just seeing how this Haas really gets on, dances through the Ascari chicane, and Narazzuro is really pushing the boundaries here. He really just has to stay on the limit here to that Haas F1 car, and he has managed to get a couple of points, I believe, has Narazzuro, but he is now heading round that Parabolica, and can he make himself abundantly clear in that top 10? We'll have to see what the Haas does over the timing line. Puts himself up into 11, so not a bad lap time there from the Haas. Still Manduka to put in a lap time.
Yeah, so Adrian Manduka is someone who is going to want to be inside the front two rows. It's been a great qualifying so far by Osbert Zverev, who is out there, and so too Christian Samet. Brandon Bonello, another driver who has yet to put a flying lap on the board, is certainly targeting the front three rows of this grid. Yellow's in every sector out there, and Manduka's going to realize as he rushes through here the Seraglio up towards Ascari, every driver is going to have to try and stay out of the way. That is a purple middle sector from him, but again, it's invalidated, and again, he takes too much out of the circuit. He's trying too hard.
He really is, and that's going to really come costly here if he does start at the back. That is going to be a massive slap to the face for his championship challenge. Remember, he's only 24 points behind, like Ryan Carabot is as well, up in P1 at this moment in time. So opposite ends for joint P2 in the Drivers' Championship. This is going to be a big part if Manduka does not get that lap time in. We'll keep an eye on Page and head back to Manduka in a minute. Page goes up to P7. As I was saying, going back to Manduka, now got to play it safe here. He's now just got to play it safe and get that lap time in. He can't afford to put in another lap. It's going to be on the limit. He will just invalidate it again if he does make that another mistake. So it's going to really go out the window here. It's going to be all pressure on the reigning champ.
Look, this is the circuit where the lines are the most fine out here overall. You are running a tightrope, and the track limits here indicate that such a tightrope is being played here today. Ryan Carabot with 0.4 of a second in the back pocket, looking for a little bit more out there with 1:18.7 is best. He'll dive into the pits. That lap not as good out there, so it's going to abandon. Can Daniel Chinny then close the gap in the Red Bull, making that rush, using all of the circuit there through Parabolica and will make the charge over towards the line and improves to an 18.9. That gap down to a 10th and a 3rd out there at the moment. Can Ferrugia find a half a second out there in terms of his lap? He tips it in to Parabolica, hoping he can improve with 7 minutes remaining, and he will dive into the pits. Ferrugia, this might be a bogey track.
It might be for the current championship leader, but I do want to give a bit of credit here to the Williams team. Their team are currently in the top 5 position. They've got both cars there in the top 5. That's going to be the front row for Ryan Carabot and the 3rd row for Keith Muscat. So he's going to be absolutely delighted with that. I believe maybe a best qualifying position for him. Having a look at my stats, and it was right. That will be a best finish there. But I believe we've had an improvement, and it's going to be Bradley Abello in the Alpine. Brilliant stuff there from the Alpine, but Brandon Bonello goes up to P3 there. So the time to really start to tumble at the track now starts to grip up.
This is the home of the Tifosi. There is no doubt about it. And the Ferrari up into 3rd position will give a few smiles out there at this point. 6 minutes on the clock. Christian Sammet, who has been quietly whittling away when it's come to this championship, has worked his way up to P6 overall in this championship for the McLaren team and is looking to try and put Brandon Bonello on notice inside of the final 5 rounds of this season. So he's going to dive into the pits. He's not going to improve. This is one of the few tracks as well you look at, Adam, and you get a chance to run more laps here than you would do at others. Here is Bonello, who's currently out there on circuit trying to find himself, probably, I would say at this point, on an in-lap.
Yeah, he is going to be on that in-lap, so he just manages to get into the sync of being in those final couple of laps. We've only just ticked down to less than 5 minutes and 20 seconds left of this qualifying session, and it's still all to play for. Those top positions in that top 5 still up for debate here. As there goes Bonello, who seems to be running out of fuel there. So really keeping it on the low there and draining it right to the very drop. Bonello into a really, really good position. I think he's starting to find a little bit of form here in front of the home Tifosi.
Yeah, and being in 3rd position, remember, he hasn't won since the opener, and he'd love to get back up on top. But Adrian Manduka, who's out there, who's desperately trying to find that flying lap with 4.5 minutes to go, might just have enough time to get in, out, and back for one more lap after this, but he doesn't want to bank on that. Rushing through the chicane, double take he takes through the 3rd part of Ascari. That is the sign that he's trying to keep it within the lines. This might not be the lap of the gods that he's hoping for with that small correction at the steering wheel. This is a huge moment in the context of this race, in the context of this championship. Manduka only P4 with that time. It's good, but is it really good? Ferrugia will have it all to prove now, down in 9th.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to be a really topsy-turvy qualifying session. We've already seen, of course, Ryan Carapot up in there in P1, Daniel Chinny there in P2. They're going to be on 4. Manduka only putting himself into P4. That's an okay lap. But for someone that should really be up in those top 2 places, challenging his best qualifying at the moment is 3rd place, so he's never been on the front row. But if he can put that on that front row and put one more magic lap there, that would be absolutely vital for him to battle with Carabot into the race here. But this is Daniel Page, who's improving by 0.5 hundredth.
Well, you definitely get a sense that that's the one weakness of Adrian Manduka right now. His qualifying output is not there at the moment, but Page, who finds himself down at the moment in P10, is looking to try and jump up a little bit more. He knows he only needs 0.08 of a second, and he's past Matthias Ferrugia, but he's not going to find it, and he's going to dive back once again into the pits. The lap time, not good enough to get what is needed out there. Lots of drivers now are realizing this is the moment they have to start striking, because we are inside the final stages of this qualifying session. There are hardly any opportunities left. If you're out there, you have to feel with 2 minutes, 27 seconds left, you are committed.
Yeah, definitely. I think I saw a big improvement there by Carl Magro Gazzano down there in 13th. The McLaren going around the final corner of Ascari. But this is Christian at 0 in the Haas F1 car. He's a little bit down there compared to his first sector time. But what is the second sector time saying? We'll have a look there. Rugia, yes, he's gone up into second. Well spotted there, up into those front row positions. So it seemed like he's got something working in that Alpine. So now he's put himself into a really, really good position. Well noticed there, Jake. But looks like Gazzano has gone into the pit lane. So I thought he was very much up on his time, but it looks like unfortunately his lap has been invalidated.
So that will bail Matthias Ferrugia out for a moment, but because he's off kilter with everybody else, he's now going to have to sit and watch as everyone else tries to find their improvements out there with Chinny and Bonello, each within a tenth of a second. You feel like they are going to be drivers who are going to try and throw everything out there right now to try and go as quickly as they can. The first of these drivers to get themselves into the right place at the right time is going to be the one that's going to put it on pole. And lest we forget, Ryan Carabot has been struggling, and it looks like Manduka's session is done as well. He feels he can't improve on fifth.
Yeah, that's right. That is going to be a massive, massive blow. He's got, he's put himself onto the third row of the grid, but there's going to be huge, huge improvements. And we see a couple of cars now coming around that final corner. That will probably be to start their final flying lap. Rugia has decided to go all that off, which went up into the wall, and he's gone out to qualify, pushing too hard there in front of the Tifosi, and he will line up in P7. Wedeb ended all there in the Armco barriers. That is going to be disappointing for the Ferrari man.
But still, Daniel Chinny will have a chance. It will be at best P7 for Zverev, but Chinny now trying to tiptoe through the Della Loggia, now to the two Lesmo corners. Checkered flag will be coming out in about 10 seconds time, and everybody is going to be searching for laps. Daryl Page will be the last driver there. Carmagro Gazzano is not going to make it for his qualifying lap. He's going to be done. Up the hill goes Chinny, and now he will see whether he's got an extra 0.2 of a second. He's up 1 1/3. This needs to be a good final sector, and he might just have enough here to get to Ryan Carabot. He's currently 5,000 to the good. Is there anything more out there that he can procure to get himself to that pole position through the Curva Alboreto, the Parabolica? Is this the lap that Daniel Chinny has been looking for? Oh, it is! 18.699, he's on pole. But watch out for Carabot, because this might be his moment. He'll charge for the line, and he will put an 18.5. He's him! He's him! What a lap!
It's incredible, my goodness. An absolute showdown here in Monza. And that was the Stafford Dreams. A couple more cars to come across the line. This is going to be Keith Muscat and Daniel Pards of Williams ahead of the AlphaTauri. And we ride on board with the Italian manufacturer heading around that Parabolica. Can there be any improvement there? No improvement there from Muscat. But what about Page? Has he been improving throughout that lap? He can't go any faster than 12. A little bit of an improvement there by 36 milliseconds. But that was the absolute piece of Monza magic we've seen in qualifying. And I'm sure we're going to be expecting more of that in the race to come.
What weakness, says Ryan Carabot. I'm on pole again. He absolutely threaded that together. Daniel Chinny threw the kitchen sink at it, but Carabot had all the answers there. A perfect qualifying from the Williams driver, who shows once again that he is the top dog to beat. Ferrugia with third will be very happy with that, and Manduka will have to go from fifth, having to negotiate the likes of Brandon Bonello. Keep an eye out on those in the middle of the pack. Christian Samet, Bradley Abella, Osbert Zverev, those in 6th, 7th, and 8th are going to be threats in this race, but the question is where they are going to be threats when all things are to be considered. What an incredible qualifying we have just had, and we've got 27 laps yet to decide who is going to get what. We're going to step aside for one moment. When we come back, it's race time, and it's coming up after this.
They been on it, drum on the rail. I wrap it, I bag it, I pack it for sale. I feel like I'm speed out, I hit me a chill. I give it a thrill, I put it it on film. Facade get applaud, that ain't real. Come to my section and flex, we can tell. I got a show where she dipping them nails. I'm flipping my L's, I know they can tell. I did it too major, they hit me for favors. Been him since the cable was cut in the crater. What's up, only right that I do it. Colossal until I'm a fossil, they want me to fail. Look, we prevail. Jump on your tail. Know that they talking, they telling them tales. Just know how to tell, that for the sale.
Good morning. I'm your algorithm. I know what you're going to wish for.
No, you don't. New Alfa Romeo Tonale Hybrid. Live unpredictably.
Better with Pepsi Max.
And so to the race. 27 laps, one big moment still remains. Who's going to put themselves in the best place? It's one of the longest runs to the front stretch, Adam. And crucially, it's one of the tightest sections out there. Lap 1 crashes are known here at Monza.
Oh, for sure. It's kind of a bit of a meme in the sim racing community that there are going to be an accident down into turn 1. So really kind of make yourself aware about that. But there is a 640-meter run down towards that first corner, and my goodness me, are we really going to be seeing some tight action there? It's also about, do you want to go aggressive into that first corner, try and get a couple of positions, or do you stay back in case there is a big accident in front of you? Then you can go and pick up the pieces, but that's going to be massively on the driver's mind as they head in toward that first chicane.
That first chicane, the Rettifilo, is going to be so crucial for deciding who's got what. This track is going to narrow up towards there, but as our 5 lights get on, 27 laps, round 11 of the V1 Malta Series gets itself underway. Slow start from the 3rd row there by Bradley Abella. Carabot gets the launch that he wants, and immediately he covers off to that inside. Looks like he's got the launch. Everybody looking, it'll be Chinny searching for the inside. Does he have a room? No, he slides over the inside curb. Just about gets away with it. Bonello's jumped up. He's got himself up into 3rd, followed quickly by the 2 Alpes. Through to Biasino, over to the Della Roggia. Carabot with the start of dreams.
He really has. He got a really good launch there. Chinny wants to go on the attack, but the rear axle locked, and luckily he was able to save it. That is Manduka under pressure there from Bradley Abella, who's looking to try and attack, and now he's got Chris Salmon for company. It's Oscar Juedeb there in 8th place. He had an accident just there in qualifying. He's trying to make up the position, but Manduka is also on the charge here. But this is Matthias Ferrugia. He's giving up a place there to Brandon Bonello. So the Ferrari really on the charge there. But look at the gap between Manduka and Chinny. 1.3 seconds already. So massive amount of confidence building in that Williams car.
Yes, but we know that Williams loves to build the gap early, is very heavy on energy recovery deployment on the opening lap, whereas drivers like Daniel Chinny, for example, will be a little bit more laborious and will gain that back later on in the stint. 1 lap then already score complete. It's always crucial to get outside of that drafting range. The drag reduction system is going to be crucial. Watch Brandon Bonello. He's already closing that gap down, and he's thinking about, can he find the move on the inside? No, he can't find it just yet, but he's primed and ready for next lap when that becomes available. That 80 kilometer or 80 brake horsepower, that extra 20 kilometers an hour, that's going to be key. Drivers switching here, there, and everywhere. Troubles at the back. It looks like Emerson Zarb maybe has had a moment, and it's Chris Nerazzurra around in the Haas.
Yeah, unfortunate for them all the way at the back there, but we can concentrate here on this battle because Daniel Chinny is starting to form a bit of a train up here and just backing up there the likes of Brandon Bonello and Matthias Frugi. You can see there the yellow wall tyres, the medium compound tyres on that Alpine car. But he's going to look to go on the charge here, trying to put himself out of the total. I think he's just going to try and build up this overtake, but he's now got to be careful because he's got a very, very vicious and angry Adrian Manduka in behind here, running on board with the Alfa Romeo, and he's going to look to go for a move pretty early here in towards Parabolica.
Well, he's trying to have that as a search, but it's not going to be quite there at this point. Manduka knows how crucial it is to keep these championship points in play. Remember, it's 24 points coming in for Karabot and Manduka versus Ferrugia that they are behind right now with that extra bonus point in Ryan Karabot's hands. He's scoring 26 today. Ferrugia currently sitting on 12, so that will slash the gap then from 24 points to 10 as they walk out of here as it stands. So there we go, lap 3. We're going to see the DRS now become important, and Daniel Chinny now is going to realize that he is going to have to be uber defensive in the zones that he needs to be at his level best with.
Yeah, really good stuff there, but going to be very defensive for that Alpine. There's just still continuing in that train. They're just trying to find the rhythm around this circuit, just try and build up that tire temperature, which I'm sure they have done at this point by now, but the DRS will be activated. You can see there the letterbox is opening up on those rear wings. They charge down towards the Scary chicane. Yellow. Hey, you're right there. F1 to Bone has gone round, so I was wondering where that yellow flag was around. I thought that was going to be the Haas there of Christian at 0, but it looks like the Bone has gone round. Unfortunately there, that Alfa Romeo has been on the struggle bus in the last couple of races there.
Yeah, Efron to Bone struggled, couldn't even get a lap in qualifying. He threw it in the wall through that section, and again, he struggles once more in that place again. So there is definitely a sense that there is a lot of tension and a lot of things that's going wrong. Watch out for Brandon Bonello. He's going to move straight to the inside. Does Daniel Chinny have an answer to this? Answer to that is no, he does not. But can he square it up off the exit? Because Bonello was in a little bit deep there through the Rettifilo, gets it sorted though, up into second position, and now his focus is going to be to charge. I wonder here if Daniel Chinny's actually gone tyre different here in terms of strategy. Yes, he's on the yellow wall medium, so no surprises that he's maybe struggling a little bit, but those around him look like to also be on said mediums.
Yeah, it looks like the medium tyre is going to be the right choice there. So they have that option of going long onto the hard compound tyre. You don't want to be going onto the soft. I think, well, it looks like Karabot, and looks like that's like Clayton Aquilino. He's been very quiet this race up into P8 there, but the put this cover and soft tyre runners there in a bit of a not quite in a train, but they're looking very fast off the start here. So they're going to be going and building this gap. Those medium tyre runners are going to be continuing to go around until around about lap 12 to 14. Then they'll come in and make their stop for those hard compound tyre.
Daryl Page definitely struggling with tyre wear here at the moment. He's the only driver on the hard tyre, and it'll be questionable whether he's got what he wants. DRS flap open then for Matthias Ferrugia as he now sees Manduka behind. He's got covered, but Chinny right now has himself covered with the fact that he can use the toe off of Brandon Bonello as he leads this group that goes all the way back to Bradley Abella in 7th position. Nobody able to shake a driver in this group. Might have to come to the pit stop window to make that happen. And the next question is going to be, how long will those soft tyres last for someone like Ryan Karabot at the front? Yes, he's 3 seconds to the good, but at what point is that table, that scales going to tip the other way? Because right now it seems rather even.
It really does at this moment in time, because those soft tyres should go quite the way. Probably about 10 laps, I would say. You can definitely make 9, 10 at probably at best until they start to completely go off, because it is a low degradation circuit. It's a lot of straight line, so your tyres aren't really being pushed that much. The only places that are really being pushed is the 2 Lesmos and Ascari, and arguably the final corner of Ascari, which are going into now, or should I say the Curva Michele Alboreto, as they were renamed a couple of years ago. This is Matthias Ferrugia now. Look see if he can maybe make a move, but he ducks out of the slipstream. I think he's just not prepared to make a move just yet. I think he's just going to let Chinny and Bonello deal with it first here, or is he maybe going to go for a mill? I thought there was a dive bomb opportunity, but that is not in Matthias Ferrugia's interest.
Well, this is all about focus right now. Brandon Bonello is going to have to put a little bit of focus into where those drivers are behind, because Matthias Ferrugia is getting out the draft early. He knows he doesn't want to make a pass right now. There's no benefit to him making that pass at this moment. He wants this group to coalesce and work together as well as possible. Keep Karabot in check, because when he goes on to the medium tires and everyone else here is running on the soft, that's going to be where these drivers pick up their advantage. That's where he's wanting to get that skill. And again, with the DRS through the Seraglio, up the hill towards Ascari, doesn't want to make that move, doesn't want to get close enough that he starts hampering his own run and putting Adrian Manduca in a position to attack.
Yeah, because his main rival at this moment in time is going to be Ryan Karabot. That's what he's going to be thinking about. And then when Karabot gets too far out of arm's reach, then he's going to be thinking about taking that second place. And where is that second place? Oh, yes, that is only less than a second in front of him. It's actually Brandon Bonello there in P2. And that's going to change hands possibly to Daniel Chinny, who just slipped him straight past the Ferrari up into second place there. So changing hands at this moment in time. But that gap down to Ryan Karabot is starting to decrease here, just because of a mix of the soft tires starting to go off, and of course Karabot knows he's got that gap and he can afford to take the seconds down, but not too many, because then he'll start to have to pick up the pace on tying soft tires.
Well, this is going to be about focus for Ryan Karabot, because this is a long-term race where he is going to be hunted down in the second phase, and that is the carrot on the stick there for Daniel Chinny, seeing that in the background, or in the foreground, so to speak, that ever dot that's just hovering about 3 seconds. That's what he's trying to hunt down at this moment with the crew that he is bringing along. Second group as well is looking very interesting right now, with Andrea Borges hunting or fronting that at the moment in P8, as we focus on board with Brandon Bonello in that third position, getting a real sense of where that pace is. Doesn't want to make the launch here into the Alboreto curve. He wants to really make sure that he's maximizing this exit here, and he is in full deployment. You can see it just down on the bottom of his wheel there. He's in overtake mode, trying to find this one here. A little bit of extra pace, moving over to the right-hand side, comfortably dispatching of that move and getting up into second once again. This is all pageantry. They're all trying to switch for places, as Bari there, Muscat moves up into 8th place. Borges now down to 9th, Osbert Zverev 10th, Daryl Page keeping himself honest with the hard tyres there in 11th, desperately trying to cling on.
Yeah, for sure, that is going to be rough to try and just hang on to that little battle with Andrea Borges, Zverev in there, Page in there, also Clayton Aquilina, who's dropped a couple of places there compared to his starting position. But now, looking back here with Adrian Manduca, who must be so frustrated, stuck behind the rear of that Alpine car. He can just smell the fumes coming off that Renault powered engine. He wants to get past, but he just has to save up his energy for these for the end of the race, because there's a big opportunity to take P2 at this moment in time. And if Karabot's plan doesn't come to fruition, and for sure that first place is going to be on the line here. But is Manduca now going to try and pounce here into the curve of Michele Alboreto? No, he's just going to hold back and maybe have a look at overtaking with DRS. He's now going to try and just draw that Alpine in, then try and make that move and just see if he can go on and attack the front two there of Bonello and Chinny, and that main straight and in towards that first chicane. Looks like Bonello defending there from Chinny, but nothing in doing there for Manduca. He's just going to sit in behind and just keep a watch of the action.
Oh, and there's a look. Andrea Borges there. They're getting a little bit of argy-bargy between them, and this is going to open up Osbert Zverev. He thought about it on the power on the exit. Very easy to spin up the rears from from the lowest point when these cars are at their slipperiest, where you don't have that downforce, you're relying on the mechanical grip of the car, and it could very much be trouble. Now, someone like Adrian Manduka here, we're expecting drivers to go sometimes even as late as lap 17. Do you feel like he's going to have to make an early call, maybe as early as lap 14 here, Adam, to make the stop, just to try and get an undercut on some of his main rivals?
It's definitely interesting to see if he wants to maybe make that undercut. In fact, anybody here in this main 4 battle can make that that undercut. Just depends who wants to go for it, and that would just cause a massive domino effect, and also change the outcome of the race. Then you have to think about the double-edged sword of yes, you pit first, yes, you may be in front, but now can those tires you've gone with last to the end of the race, which the hard tires should do at this point in time. They crossed over the line for lap 10, but we'll really have to see if those hard tires can make it. Let's see if there's any move down in towards the first chicane. No, not at this moment in time. Still just holding on, still just analysing their opposition, seeing if they can make anything work. Yellow in sector 3, that is going to be, I believe, Emerson Zarb there in P14.
Yep, so he had a struggle there through the Curva Alboreto, the Parabolica corner, and that could have been a whole lot worse there for the second of the Alpha Tauris, who has now islanded himself. Ephraim Tabone and Chris Naratsuro have already come down in and made a pit stop in this race, so they are the leaders of the two who have pitted at this point in time, on board with Brandon Bonello. In here, that was Osbert Zverev that we were looking at there for a moment. He's in this secondary group, and these are the final few points, 4-2 and 1 point respectively. This is where Zverev is really going to need to try and maximize his points haul, because while he has at times shown that he's got pace equal to Brandon Bonello, he's been struggling to really open it up the hill on the brakes into Ascari. Don't often see too many moves there, but that's where Muscat is able to get it done. Keith has found himself through on Andrea Borg.
Yeah, really good stuff there. Was this kind of wide it was? Yeah, right. Manduka out wide there and on towards the off-front surface there. And it looks like Bradley Abella going to sweep on through. What happened there to the Alfa Romeo? But he's going to try and repass the Alpine there with the help of DRS. He is going to make that happen, but we need to see what will happen. I'm guessing he just ran a little bit too wide, lost the rear, and that could be an early sign that those medium tires are starting to disintegrate on that Alfa Romeo, pushing that little bit too hard to make a move there. We see more that's a collision. That's going to be the Ferrari off into the gravel. That is Oscar Zverev there, and really unfortunate for the Ferrari. He's going to have to just back it up there. Unfortunate times for the Scuderia.
Yeah, that's a hefty loss in terms of what he's dealing with, and then the struggle of getting onto the circuit. He now drops behind the likes of Emerson Zarb, and that's what happens when you have the tiniest bit of contact there. It really costs. That all was a chain reaction of Daryl Page running off the circuit. He picks up a 3-second time penalty, so too Ephraim Tabone. But it's so easy to outbrake yourself when you've got the DRS, you've got that extra slipstream to go forward with. You do have to dial your brake zone back here by sometimes upwards of 30 meters because of the extra speed.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be really important just to get that extra speed, to be able to get past those cars. But here
watch out
Daniel
inside.
Chinny. Oh, my goodness me. You're right there. That's the front wing of Matthias Ferrugia. Ferrugia wants to make a move. Are we going to be seeing 3 wide into the first chicane? No, because Chinny is blocked off here. But Ferrugia is just going to slot into third. That's all he needs for now. But they make their way through the next corner. And it looks like it's going to be Bonello from Ferrugia, from Chinny, from Manduka, as passes into the pit lane here.
Off the hards then on lap 12, I'm interested to see what he's going to go on to. It would suggest a medium tyre out there to get to the end, and it is a medium tyre. So this is going to be the way he wants to run this race. A medium to the end is what he feels comfortable with, and he'll get back out and away again. Now, this will indicate that we're soon in the Ryan Karabot phase. Osbert Zverev also came into the pits to get off of his set of tyres out there at this point. So he's got a lot of focus to go forward with too in this one. So now we're starting to get these first chain reactions in this race.
Yeah, now we're going to be starting to see those pit stops coming into effect, but this is going to be one to really keep an eye on, because who's going to be making that first move? Who can be making that first chessboard move to try and win out this race and knock out the queen and become the last man in this, or become the first man in this quadruple of cars. And it's going to be the Ferrari of Bonello, so he's going to be the first duck into the pit lane here, as we see a lot of chasing down toward the first chicane. But this is going to be interesting, and it's going to be the hard compound tire for the Scuderia Ferrari car.
Now, that does shock me here, because I was not expecting that as a call to go to action, to move on to the hard tyre. Brandon Bonello here is trying to rely on longevity to make sure that his race works. You're looking around, Bradley Abella has covered off the strategy, so he'll be on the same one as Brandon Bonello at this point. But Ryan Carabot at 3.6 seconds to the good. At this point, will realise that when he gets off of those softs and onto the medium tyres, you would expect to get to the end of this race, that he's looking to go off, and out goes Daryl Page from this race. So Page is out. I'm not quite sure where that's happened, whether it's just a pure retirement they're going through, which does happen, which could indicate here at this moment in time that it was a connection issue, something of that like, because we are staying with running without a safety car at this moment. So Daryl Page, the first retiree.
Daryl Page has entered the pit lane to retire there. So it looks like the AlphaTauri decided to park it into the garage, and someone else is coming into the pit lane but not into the garage is going to be Ryan Carabot. So it's going to be interesting to see what tyres that Williams car is going to be on. He could, theoretically, go to the medium compound tyres. They will last. We have seen it. And as he comes into the pit lane, look at that. Some beautiful yellow-walled medium compound tyres going on that Williams car. And he's just going to continue at this incredible speed that he's been building. And in fact, he comes out just in behind Carl Magro Gazzano, as also Matthias Ferrugia is into the pit lane. But more crucially, he comes out ahead of Brandon Bonello.
No, he's come out just behind, actually. So he's lost. Oh, it's Bonello. It's Bonello off the road, is that there? So he's going to lose out huge there with that moment. So Ferrari driver had done everything right in the strategy, had got himself ahead by the undercut, has just lost everything there in that run forward, and it's so easily done. Now, I am... I am looking forward to see what tyres Ferrugia has gone on to, whether he has gone onto the softer, whether he's done the same as Pinello and gone onto a hard tyre. That will really be the biggest indicator here of mindset out there in this race, whether it's going to be about how long that tyre life can go, and already dispatched then is the key. So here is the likes of Ryan Carabot. He's already got through on Carmago Gazzano. One in, one out. Chinny in, Manduka stays out.
Interesting that Manduka, who was in the back of that train, has decided that he's just going to stay out for another lap.
That's hard.
You're right. Or just before I get onto that, as I was saying with Manduka, maybe he's trying to rely on a safety car, because safety car can be pretty common around here in Monza. But Chinny now going onto the hard compound tyre. He just couldn't go onto those soft tyres. They would be completely shot by the end of this Grand Prix. So he doesn't want to be left very, very vulnerable to a load of chasing cars. And in fact, he has got ahead of Matthias Ferrugia in that Alpine on those hard compound tyres. But he's got to get those hard compound tyres up to speed very, very quickly.
Well, if Ryan Carabot can do it, then I'd argue that everyone else could. So I don't see what's so special about that as a strategy. Everyone's gone very conservative today on that call, except Ryan Carabot, who is going soft medium and is able to get the best out of the tyres without compromising on being on, quote, a worse tyre out there. I think Manduka's going to be the big threat then in this race if he's going to go soft, if and when he decides to dive down into the pit. So Carabot right now, I think, has just pulled a tactical rabbit out of a proverbial hat, and Manduka is going again, and I wonder whether he is trying to drive those mediums to a range where he feels comfortable on the softs.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what Carabot is all about here as he makes his way over the line, and in comes his teammate, in fact, goes over and does a 121.4. Keith Muscat into the pits. So the Williams cars are really up into a very decisive position. Let's see where Keith Muscat comes onto. Soft tire there for that Williams car. And he looks like he's going to be coming out, in fact, just between Andrea Borg and Clayton Aquilina. So this is going to be the battle for the final points paying position between Muscat and Aquilina, but it looks like it's going to be clearly on the Williams best side.
Carmagro Gazzano still yet to dive in and make a stop, holding on to the back of Matthias Ferrugia and Daniel Chinny at the moment, who are net second and third in this race as it stands at the moment. 5 seconds off of Ryan Carabot at this stage, and who is going to be walking away on those mediums, you would feel, between now and the end of this one. Up on the DRS, then down the hill and back up it once again at the plateau braking zone of Ascari here. The left, right and left is going to be a really crucial one. Now goes Adrian Manduca into the pits in the Alfa Romeo. He now knows this is the moment he's got to stop, and he will have Christian Samet come in behind him.
Yeah, interested to see where these guys are going to come out. Of course, easy decision to go onto a soft compound tire. He must have used a load in qualifying because, of course, he did go off the track a couple of times, had to come into the pits, use a load of fresh compound tire. But it will be really interesting to see what Manduca decides to heads out here. In fact, he's going to be hit ahead of Bradley Bella, just behind Daniel Chinny. Really interesting stuff here. So you're going to be right at the back of that pack. Of course, Bonello, who made that mistake earlier, down in P7, but we now see here, riding on board with the Alpine of Matthias Ferrugia. He's got the Red Bull of Chinny all over the rear of him, and he's now going to be trying to defend that position for all that is worth, and that is worth a big 18 points in his Driver Championship bid.
He knows that he can't finish second to Carabot forever and win this championship. He will have to beat him at a couple of races between now and the end of this season. But Daniel Chinny is trying to keep himself in the picture, is trying to still be a thorn in the Alpine driver's side. Looking at the inside up at Ascari isn't going to get the job done. But already on this lap alone, 1.5 seconds have been sliced out of this gap by Adrian Manduca, and he is looking like he is going to be the driver on the back of this group who's going to want to close up. At 1.2 seconds, he won't get DRS just yet, as Clayton Aquilina gets a 3-second time penalty for warnings. Manduca is going to use the tyres at the right place at the right time, which is now, here comes Chinny, looking to take his place back, and he will take it as Gazzano pits.
Brilliant stuff there. Easy sweets just past him with the letterbox open, and with that extra speed topping at about 215 miles an hour down that straight. That is insane numbers, but you're already riding aboard here with the Alfa Romeo in the white and black Alfa Romeo going through turn number 3 here, just gaining onto the back of these cars. You can already see that gap is around about a second, but through that chicane, just gaining, attacking every single apex here. He is really on the limits here as he makes his way through the Lesmo corners, through the first and in toward the second, and that is just being chopped away. The gap ever decreasing here. Now he's going to be really into the thick of the battle, and we head down that when we head down that main straight. This is going to be absolutely massive to watch.
Well, the key here is, can Manduca get the overspeed on someone like Matthias Ferrugia, or is he going to need a 2-for-1 to come into play where Daniel Chinny is close enough that he can maybe launch one, and then a lap later he's jumped the train because of where Daniel Chinny is compared to everyone else. Matthias Ferrugia, it's going to depend on him. Look at him, shadow through the parabolica. This is going to be pretty much where you need to be if you're Adrian Manduca, but look at this on the straight. It is even keel at this point. Nowhere to go. Christian Samet now with the fastest lap of the race takes the championship bonus point away from Carabot, which is big right now for Matthias Ferrugia, and puts it in his hand, as there was no chance of the move from Manduca that time.
Yeah, there was no chance he was going to stream past that Alpine. And He needs to just do it in a really good spot here now. In his sense, he's just going to get a little bit held up here. Through the chicane he goes, and he's just sticking on the back of those hard compound tire runners. He's right up the gearbox there, the Alpine. He's seen that rear wing. He is so familiar with the rear of Matthias Ferrugia, and Ferrugia will just say, well, just keep a look at that a little bit longer. Just keep an eye on what it says there. Just keep reading it, and I'll be a happy man. But in toward that Ascari chicane, Ferrugia will just be continuing to attack Daniel Chinny because they need those 18 points for the championship. He now needs to look in his mirror because look at that. That is Adrian Manduka. I can sense a double overtake here. Don't you, Jake?
It could definitely happen, but the key here is that Matthias Ferrugia cannot get within 0.4 of a second of Daniel Chinny when it comes to the straight. Manduka is all over him, and now is the closest he's been. Pulls over to the right-hand side, but again, in a straight line, he needs to pull back into line here. Needs to find an angle. Who's going to be braver on the brakes? They all jump down in. Bonello gets overtaken by Samet. Now Samet up into P6, but Manduka, this is always going to be the one worry that he had out there with the strategy that he was on, is that when he's got the best of the life of the soft tires, he is at the mercy of the DRS.
He really, really is at the mercy of that DRS. You can really tell how effective it is, but those wings on the car that have been reset in the setup, we have no idea what they're going to be, but it's just all about what these drivers know and can tell from the way that they're driving, the way how fast those cars in front are moving, or the way the car is positioned in behind. Going to be really interesting to see how these guys are looking at each other here through Ascari for the 20th time of this Italian Grand Prix. Manduka is really on the prowl here. He wants to get past so desperately. You can really taste it in the air here. He's really wants to get past here. This is Bradley Abella, who's going to be coming under pressure from Chris Samus in a couple of moments' time. But let's ride on board here with Adrian Manduka, the guy who has won here before in the previous years, but can he do it again? It doesn't look like he's going to be pretty out of reach, but in toward that first chicane, still nothing doing, and I think he's going to just set his sights upon the P2 there, pretty close to the rear end of the Alpine.
Well, here's his issue. If this was one-on-one, he'd be through and he'd be flying, and I think that he'd be away and chasing down Ryan Carabot. The issue that he's run into is Chinny and Ferrugia found each other after the pit stops. They haven't broken lockstep with each other, and Adrian Manduka effectively finds himself third wheeling here. He's come to the wrong place, wrong time, and you definitely sense that Adrian Manduka at this moment is feeling like this is currently a missed opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. It is going to be one of those missed opportunities. You really needed to get ahead, and you kind of have a think about could he have not double stack, could he have come in a little bit earlier and got that undercut? Where would he have been? It's kind of a sense of what if, especially if he stays in fourth place by the checkered flag here. But long back straight, the lovely helicopter camera through the trees along this back straight in toward the final corner. What a corner it is, just keeping out that left hand side there. And I wonder what we can see here. We head on to the 22nd lap of this Italian Grand Prix. They're still not quite in it there, and this is the effect of the DRS train. Manduka wants to get past Ferrugia, but Ferrugia just can't seem to get past Chinny, and he doesn't want to at this moment in time. It's just starting to slip away here for Manduka, because every single lap, every single tight corner he sees. That was pretty close, but the soft tires there are going to be starting to die away and grain away on that Alfa Romeo as Brandon Bonello looks to try and reclaim fifth place in this tight battle here.
Yeah, and you can sense Christian Samet has worked his way to the front of the train. It's where he wants to be. And then Bradley Abella and Brandon Bonello have work to do in terms of chasing. Now, that's a small mistake from Matthias Ferrugia, and this is opening the door. This is a DRS zone. Yes, he will have it, but this is where Manduka's got to pounce, and he can't quite get the run out to the exits that he wants to. I wonder how lucrative he is saving his energy recovery system, how much he really has to deploy out there at this moment in time. He's got over half, but you can see when he can't make a move, he switches immediately from overtake mode to medium mode. And even though Farouja's got slightly less deployment available to him, it's even with Daniel Chinny, who is able to cover at the right places.
Yeah, for sure. That ERS is going to be really important to save at this moment in time, because you're starting to head into those business laps of this Grand Prix. You're starting to head into those times where you have to absolutely nail the ERS, absolutely burn the heck out of the battery, and really start to do something about that car in front. This is the battle in behind still. Samu ahead of Abella, ahead of Bonello. I wonder how Abella will, not Abella, it's Bonello, how he must be feeling after that earlier error. He must be absolutely kicking himself, thinking, I should have been in that top pack.
It was his chance. He certainly was a contender here for the podium. But the key here is one mistake will cost you, and it cost him big time. Now rushing through the second, or the first of the Lesmos, now looking towards the second here. This is where he's realizing, oh, I'm just Adrian Manduka, but I'm 7 seconds further back down the road. Wants to make the move on Bradley Abella, wants to make the move on Christian Samet, but realizes once again, he's not really got enough that really shows him he's got the ability to do that, because of how strong the toe is, and that DRS is as a defensive weapon for the driver in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much Manduka and Bonello are in the same position at this moment in time. They know they're quicker than the cars in front. It's just all about deploying absolutely everything. And this is going to be a massive opportunity here for Manduka. He's right on the tail of the Alpine here. Can we see 3 wide? Oh my goodness me, almost squeezing each other. There goes Ferrugia around the outside of the Red Bull, but he just doesn't quite do it, leaving a little bit of room there. Manduka wanted to take it, but after the back off, a little bit of contact between the two. This is getting argy-bargy, elbows flying out here, and Manduka is just trying to do something, but he's bished and bashed his way into the back of the Alpine, but he's just not been able to squeeze through. This is really, really tight stuff, Jake.
Well, that is crucial for Manduka. That was the first real opportunity. He knows he's got to keep driving fast because he's got to force Ferrugia to attack Daniel Chinny. Mistake there a little bit coming off of the exit from Matthias Ferrugia, having to gather up the car, but he's got the DRS to defend with. It's a case of either you've got to let Daniel Chinny go by a second, or you've got to throw Matthias Ferrugia forward into attacking Daniel Chinny and pick up the scraps. That's what he tried to do off the exit of the Retafilo. Didn't quite work. He'll have 3 chances after this, but he's going to need a genie's 3 wishes. Can he find the one overtake that he allows himself to have that puts him up onto that podium and continues to make him gain in the championship compared to his main title rival right in front?
Yeah, it's going to be massively, massively interesting. And right again, he's on the rear of that car, but it's going to be very, very close in toward the Retafilio. Is Chinny going to go, is Ferrugia going to go for the move? I don't think he's done it. I think he just had to back off here. What about that move in towards turn number 3 here? Look at that, Ferrugia just looking left and right. He wants to make that move as well. He's going to move to the outside here. And look at this. Is this going to be a move for Matthias? Adrian Manduka try and make a move here. He's on the outside line, and looking at the car positioning there, Chinny was parked right in the middle to just make himself abundantly clear. They're saying, I'm sticking in P2, guys. You ain't coming past me.
No chance to find that move with 2.5 laps left. Manduka is looking left, he's looking right, he's looking up, he's looking down. He could look slantways if he wanted to. The great glass elevator is not going to help him find this pass. Ferrugia now is waking up, realizing, I don't just want third, I want second. And I think he's been playing a little bit coy in terms of the way he's been going about this. Yellow out there in sector 1. That's Christian Aratsuro who spun it.
Yeah, unfortunately there. The Haas has had a little bit of a difficult day. We've really been in the wars in the last couple of couple of laps or so. It's been a bit of a struggle there. There is F1 Tabon, and I'm sure he can say the same story there. But Oh my goodness me, this is
Three
going to be
wide.
3 wide and a 5th wide. Oh my goodness me. Looks like Ferrugia just shut the door there on the Alfa Romeo. Travels around the outside, but it's going to turn into the inside for the second corner. Manduka's looking for a hole to just peep his nose into. But look at that Chinny just defending with every single might. Can Manduka look around the outside? I think we're going to be seeing another 3 wide moment. This is absolutely insane here. The Alfa Romeo had to just back off there, almost going into the back of the Alpine. This is very, very close. And the Zero pulled, actually retired, in fact, on the exit of Ascari. He's binned it. He's binned it in the wall. And now it might be a, it's not going to be a safety car because it's so late in the race.
Well, that's just going to be yellows, waved yellows as they go by. But this is a big moment here for Adrian Manduka. He can't buy an overtake.
Really, really can't. Manduka's just stuck there. He's been stuck for the last couple of laps. He needs something to do something for his championship title bid here, but he's just stuck behind probably the worst driver he doesn't hope for. Of course, it's Matthias Frugia, the championship leader, and he'll be hoping to pass him at all costs here. That's the one driver he wants to be passed because Ryan Carabot has just sailed up the road and he's going to get another opportunity onto this final lap here. Got to make it count.
He's got to find a way, but Matthias Ferrugia, I think, is trying to wake up and find a move. Chinny, just enough to defend it. Goes a little bit deep, though, through the Rettifilo. This might open up the chance off of the exit here, and this is where you've got to be very, very select with those moves. They do have one DRS zone left in order to attack. That'll be through the Seraglio and up the hill towards Ascari. Big defensive line taken by Chinny once again as he now looks to throw the weight of the world behind him as he tries to defend with all of the might he's got through the 2 Lesmo corners. This is where you've got to be really, really alert as Matthias Ferrugia, because this is going to be the place you've got to find that move. Use the DRS to advantage, but Chinny through the middle sector has just got enough about him, enough to defend, enough to hold. Round the outside will go the surge, and it's not there, and that might just open up Manduka off the exit. He's waited all race for this chance, but as that happens, it's him. Ryan Carabot will take this win and will do so with comfort here at Monza. Behind, Manduka has got the move that he wants. He's through into third. He's through into second. 2 in the final corner. Manduka with a champion's overtake.
It's absolutely incredible. We need replay for this. Oh my goodness me. I've been absolutely taken off my chair in our virtual commentary box. Manduka, that was absolutely stunning. Take a bow. But it's 3 times a winner here at Monza for Ryan Carabot. But that was heroics.
You simply look at drivers in the clutch moments, and when they deliver greatness like this, that is the mark of a champion. Manduka is not out of a championship hunt with Matthias Ferrugia and Ryan Carabot yet. Yes, he dropped 7 points to that driver there who picks up everything he wants and then some once more with a dominant display once again. But the question simply remains. There are still 4 drivers out there who could still win this championship, and those point margins continue to be contested right now when you've got Austin, Texas, 2 weeks away. Ryan Carabot was untouchable here today, Adam. No doubts about it. He's a well-deserving winner. But it's all about everybody else around who is starting to make their statements.
Yeah, for sure. That was absolutely incredible there. Daniel Chinny just going a little bit too wide in that last corner, costing himself an extra 3 points to his championship charge. But another podium there for the Red Bull, and another chitter-chatter about Matthias Ferrugia. Another time he's been left off the podium. We've never seen him 2 times in a row off the podium. So it seems like the Alpine is now starting to crack here, and that gap is now just completely opened up in the championship.
It has. It was 24 points coming into today. No fastest lap bonus point there for Ryan Carabot. That is in the pocket of Christian Sammet. So 13 points wiped out of a lead of 24. It's down to 11 championship points with Austin on the horizon in 2 weeks' time. That is a very, very important port of call when you've got 4 rounds left and that championship gap is closing and closing and closing. Manduka is making himself known. Daniel Chinny is trying to whittle away, but is he unable to make inroads on Karabot and Manduka as well? There are so many questions still to be asked and so many battles up and down the order. Adam, simply put, 2 weeks is just an eternal wait.
It really, really is, and I'm really excited to get to Austin, Texas. I just cannot wait for more V1 Malta Series. It's just one of those championships that it looks so straightforward, and then boom, just flipped on its head. Unbelievable stuff, because of course we had a time where Ferrugia had a gap which seemed unbeatable. He was over a win and a fastest lap away from the rest of the pack. And now, a couple of rounds later, it's just all pretty much gone. It's only a couple of points, maybe even in the single digits.
It's going to be close. It's 11 by my maths at the moment, which is as close to single digits as you can, barring 10 points. But this is a championship that you can never count out until it is all said and done. This is your V1 Malta Series, brought to you by Motors Inc., by ALFA Romeo, by Pepsi Max, by Intercomp, by Next Level Racing Level Academy, and MIB Insurance Brokers. From the team here today, Adam Reed and myself, Jake Sperry, Ryan Karabot is proving that pace matters. He's got the pace. It doesn't matter whether it's a slow circuit. It doesn't matter whether it's a fast circuit. He's got pace, and he will use it. And he is the biggest threat to the championship right now. But Adrian Manduka is a champion, and he's just proven it with his last lap heroics coming out of Ascari over towards the Parabolica. It is on the defense for the likes of Matthias Ferrugia, who knows now that he has got the biggest 2 weeks of his season coming up. A response needs to be had in Austin. And Daniel Chinny is ever quietly whittling away like an artisan. He knows that he is trying to create a masterpiece, and he is hoping for fireworks out of the other 3 so he can pounce. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Austin, Texas. The Circuit of the Americas is the next bastion that has to be battled in the V1 Malta Series.